Hello and welcome to our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. and historic McDonough Arena. Two more teams tip off Big East play this morning as the Seton Hall Pirates have come south to face the Georgetown Hoyas. Howdy Hoops fans, Jeremy Huber here with Marin Walseth. And Marin, early in the season, but this is an important one for both teams.
This is where we see, did the non-conference schedule get you prepared for conference play? Obviously, both teams want to walk out with a W, but it's going to be a defensive battle. Whose offense can overcome their defense?
Let's take a look at our players to watch in this one. We start with Seton Hall, and one of their standout upperclassmen is Anna Baines.
She's fantastic. She's a three-time Big East weekly honor roll member. She's doubled her scoring. She's so physical. It all comes back to her working out every single day.
Let's jump over to the Hoyas. The engine for their machine is Kelsey Ransom.
Kelsey Ransom, Big East honorable mention last year, clearly trying to improve upon that this year. And when you talk about her points, those have increased. She's crashing the boards at a better clip. Her field goal percentage is also up this year. But for them to be successful today, she's going to have to distribute the basketball and get her teammates involved.
Coming up from our nation's capital, it's the Pirates and the Hoyas as they both tip off Big East play on the Big East Digital Network.
Saturday night, the biggest game is on Fox Primetime Hoops. It's a battle in the Big East as St. John's takes on 5th-ranked UConn. What a champ! Tristan Newton leads the reigning national champion Huskies as they fight for the top spot in the country.
There it is!
But Rick Pitino and his Red Storm squad are eyeing an upset. St. John's, UConn, Saturday at 7:30 Eastern on Fox.
The biggest games are on Fox Primetime Hoops.
Big East women's basketball is brought to you by Invesco QQQ, official ETF of the Big East Conference. Time for our starting lineups in this one. We start with Seton Hall, and the Pirates, of course, led, as we talked about, by Anna Baines. But a couple other players of note in that starting lineup as well. And of course, Marin, that includes Amari Wright.
She's a kid who's been in the program for a number of years, and you don't see that much anymore, Jeremy, but playing behind some fantastic guards, she's really come into her own and taken advantage of the opportunity.
As for the Hoyas, kind of one of the rocks of their program, Grace Ann Bennett.
Another player who's been in the program. We just don't see that. We'll talk a lot about the transfers for both programs here, but Grace Ann Bennett, another player who spent her entire career here at Georgetown.
And we are underway in D.C. Hoyas in the white, Seton Hall in the royal blue. Glad to have you along for some morning hoops. Put down your coffee, watch some basketball. Bennett hits it out to Rivera. On the 15 on the shot clock. Claude pulls up at the foul line, off the mark, and rebound chased down by Wright.
We were talking with head coach Tony Benzella for Seton Hall, and he said rebounding was going to be key. Well, honestly, both coaches said rebounding was going to be key, so getting those second opportunities might be hard to come by.
Thrown away, but chased down by Davis. Still 10 on the shot clock. And stolen away by Ransom, but a jump ball will be forced, and it will stay with Seton Hall.
I think that play right there, we're seeing Ransom play post defense. I mean, she does a lot for this team, but that's not usually part of her game.
And on Anna Baines. Shot clock resets to 20. Gray now gets it back. Seton Hall team coming off one of the bigger wins, at least non-conference-wise, in recent program history, as they dominated a ranked UNLV team.
And that was at home, so they're hoping to bring that momentum and bring that confidence on the road again.
Here's Rivera, Hoya's best outside threat. Claude spins in the lane and gets it to go.
Nice little post move, finish over the rim, middle with that left hand, so smooth.
Florida player, kind of got her way back into the starting lineup and just has all kinds of talent. Transfer from both Duke and Morehead State, was player of the year at Morehead as that's thrown out of bounds.
That last bucket here, using the dribble, using that defender as the access, quick spin.
Darnell Haney told us, Mara, that just talking about how athletic she is, kind of play the defense, she can open up a whole lot of things for them. Claude will take the shot, but an offensive foul called on the Hoyas. Here's Darnell Haney, head coach of the Hoyas on an interim basis. Of course, formerly at Jacksonville as a head coach, brought in by the late Tasha Butts as she came in and was tragically passed away earlier this year. But Coach Haney has come in and really done a great job with his team.
And how fortunate to have somebody on the staff already that has sat in that head coaching seat, understands that demand and that rhythm.
Right, kicks it over. Gray, now Baines on the drive, loses control, taken away by Bennett. Cowan dribbling through. She, of course, the sister of Anthony Cowan, former Maryland standout point guard. Always having to work for their shots as Rivera puts it up and hits for three.
That was really patient half-court offense for Georgetown, turning down a couple good shots, waiting for a great one.
It's always seemingly tough with college kids, right?
They don't have the patience, is that what you're saying? Everyone's looking to score all the time?
I know there's been a few of those when you're coaching days that, no, that's not what we want. Baines getting what she wants, off the mark, and rebound by Bennett.
And here in transition, this is where Coach Haney wanted a little improvement. How can they score better and be more effective in their transition? And clearly the miscommunication on that possession.
And Rivera, that's what he talks about. He's very big on rolls, Marin, and said she's our outside shooter. So 5-0 lead for the Hoyas. Almost knocked away by Cowan. Gray gets open, and that's off the mark and over the backboard, so Seton Hall ice cold to start. There's Tony Bozzella, head coach. It's Seton Hall 11th season, almost 30 years, over 30 years as a head coach overall. That's a lot of coaching.
We talked with him and specifically asked him about his 500th career win, and he was so appreciative of all of his players and staff that have been a part of that. Really nice to hear him speak about his career.
Kelsey Ransom there, 4-2. Just the start that Georgetown wanted. Knocked away, and Ransom on the ground, gets it to Cowan, up ahead. There goes Claude, takes it in on Baines, and that is going to be an offensive foul. It will be. It looked close to the semicircle, Martin.
It looked close, but it also, I mean, this is a contact sport. Is it that big of a deal? I'm not sure.
Like Baines' foot was definitely on that, didn't matter. So 7-0 lead for the Hoyas. Baines turnaround jumper, that's off the mark. Now the rebound by Bennett.
Seton Hall's done a nice job of making Baines work for every shot and make it difficult for her. She hasn't got her rhythm yet.
Ransom in the rhythm on three, and she hits it.
This is the start that Georgetown needed. When they can get themselves ahead and now rely on their defense, offense is always questionable.
Ransom has improved her three-point shooting this season. But not really her game, but she was feeling it and gives a 10-point lead to Georgetown. Hook in the lane, off the mark, and a foul on Ransom as Davis will get sent to the line after this timeout. Great start for Georgetown as the Hoyas with a 10-0 lead here in D.C. Seton Hall going to try to regroup. Georgetown off to a great start, leading 10-0 on Seton Hall, Marin, and really the lid has been on the bucket for Seton Hall, but the Hoyas have done everything right so far.
They've made it very difficult for Baines to score, and certainly she's their go-to player for the Pirates, and getting her involved, no doubt that was talked about in that timeout.
Zana Baines, again, the transfer from both Virginia Tech and Duke. As we see more and more now in the college game, folks going to be having one or two former teams as we come into games.
That's the evolution of college basketball, and Jeremy, you and I were talking, some people understand that and embrace it, and others it's a little more challenging to see somebody play on your team, against you, and maybe then on a third team.
Off the mark by Davis. Davis, one of the many impact transfers for this Pirate team out of Northern Illinois. Big time action in the back for her. She misses 2 free throws and a foul on Seton Hall on the scramble for the basketball, and now someone down and slow to get up. And a Catalan, who Coach Bozzella just raves about her toughness. Her brother, a football player from Arkansas and Texas, but he said she's just as tough as he is.
And in a heap on the floor there, the question is why the foul on her, because technically lying on the ground is not a legal guarding position. And so that's so tough, right? You know, you're battling for the boards, you're being physical, and then at the end of the day, you get called for the foul.
Catalan going back to the hallway there and being checked out, it looks like, maybe holding her head. You hope she didn't hit her head on the way down. Again, this floor does not give. Ransom with it over to Bennett. Seton Hall making some full-scale substitutions. Coach Bozzella very happy with the depth he's got on this team. Down low to Bennett, and off the mark. Keeps it alive, though. Maya Bembry into the game, of course, formerly a Seton Hall Pirate. Made her way to the nation's capital for the blue and gray. Off the mark by Cowan. Bembry keeps it alive. She'll kick it out. Scott will take a 3. That's off the mark. Bennett has it blocked, and they'll call a jump ball, which stays with the Hoyas.
4 offensive rebounds in that possession. That cannot make the Seton Hall staff very happy, as that was one of the keys that they felt they need to win the rebounding battle if they're going to win the basketball game.
Honestly, Marin, this is kind of the opposite of what happened for Seton Hall against UNLV.
Yes, in that UNLV game, they scored 15 of the first 17 points of the basketball game, and now they're in jeopardy of being on the other side of that.
Another rebound by Bennett. She's come out like a house of fire in this one, already with 6 rebounds in the contest. Ransom kicks it back out. And Bennett off the mark again. There's Scott. She's bumped, puts it up, no good. Ransom gets the rebound. Back into Bennett. Now Scott dribbles in, off glass and good.
Wow, Jeremy, that must have been a minute worth of offense for Georgetown, and that's so difficult and deflating as the defensive team there that just cannot get the rebound.
Tell you what, you're an old Penn Stater, that's like a football drive, about 7 minutes, just no break, just running the ball at you. Seton Hall trying to get something going. That's off the mark. Bembry on the rebound to the right miss. I know she would love to win this game. Started her career at Penn State, but then spent the majority of it at Seton Hall, a key player for this Pirate program. Bembry down the lane, bumped again, and this time the foul will be called.
This slot drive is really set up. This slot drive here is really set up with that nice crossover, splitting the defense, has the control to still get a nice shot up.
Talking to Coach Bozzella, he said, you know, Maya liked it here, just we grad transfer, and we didn't have her major. And that's another thing that kind of goes into this. And honestly, Marin, I do a lot of Georgetown sports, and some of their other programs have benefited by that. Such a good school that a lot of folks say, you know what, if I'm going to do a grad transfer year, I might as well get it where I can get a really good degree.
There's a lot that goes into transferring, and I think a lot of it is talked about in a negative connotation that, oh, we're trying to get away from this program. I don't want to work hard. You know, there's something wrong, when really you're pointing out an opportunity to get an advanced degree in a specialty or at a very prestigious institution. I mean, these kids are very smart to take advantage of that.
Yeah, the men's basketball and baseball programs at Georgetown have really benefited from that. See a lot of Ivy Leaguers, a lot of folks from places like Stanford say, yeah, give it a shot over here. Right now, the Hoyas giving their best shot, leading this one 14-0 as we're coming up on 2 minutes to go in the opening quarter. Shot up, that's off the mark. Rebounded by Davis. She'll put it up, and finally Seton Hall on the board.
Off of an offensive rebound, no less.
A 12-point lead for the Hoyas. Hoyas closed out their last game with a huge run. They had scored 29 straight points against their opponents with no score. That's never going to see that very often as Scott misses the bunny, gets a chance at number 2, and she'll get fouled.
Persistence pays off there for Brianna Scott. But let's talk about how she went back door, read the defense, felt the defense, quick little footwork there, spin, kept the basketball high. Oh, but persistence for that offensive rebound.
It's Brianna Scott, her mother, former Maryland standout Christy Winter Scott, maybe known just as much now as being a heck of a broadcaster.
She's in the building. I saw her walk
in. She behind
in.
us? I think she might be behind us. It's her normal spot. Scott knocks it down.
It's got to be nice for Christy Winter Scott to come and be able to call games, but also just be a mom at times. It's a tough balancing act, no doubt.
She coached Bree in high school. Rebounding advantage for the Hoyas, 12-3.
And 7 of those 12 rebounds for Georgetown have been offensive. That's the difference in the basketball game right now.
Here comes Bembry again, off the ransom, off glass, no good, but another foul called on the Pirates, and it was Higgins on that drive. And again, it's funny, Marin, with so many new faces at Seton Hall, Maya Bembry didn't play with everyone. She did play with Higgins, and they probably had to feel pretty good.
Look at this transition, nice pass. Bembry was able to read the defense, and Ransom aggressive. I'd like to see her be able to finish that and make this a three-point opportunity.
Say that foul charged to Catalan. So she's listed with 2. Thought it might have been on Baines, but she was in the area. Ransom taking advantage, and again, the Hoya lead grows. Kelsey checks out, and it's interesting, Marin. Coach Haney told us that sometimes Ransom gets off to slow starts, have to almost take her out of the game just to get her mind reset. She got 6 points already today. He didn't worry about this time.
That was not the case today. He took her out to give her a quick blow, maybe use the timeout between quarters as an extended break. So Coach Haney's got to be pleased with how his star started.
Off the mark, but chased down. As Baines trying to go to work against Bembry. That's off the mark. Scott with the board.
Bembry's length affected Baines on that up and under for sure.
Down to Scott, and she's a three-point threat despite her size. Really a streaky three-point shooter in some respects. Cowan pulls up at the foul line, off the back rim, no good. Another offensive rebound by the Hoyas. And Myricks has it taken away, and then she'll be called for the foul. And Davis is down, as it looked like she got rolled up on. That's not a good sign for the Pirates. Holding that left knee. Honestly, Marin, I'm always surprised this doesn't happen more. Like more almost a football injury where someone kind of falls into your leg when you're playing it.
Aggressive offensive rebound. Yeah.
Davis trying to work underneath. Right now, it has not been one to write home about for the Pirates so far, down 18-2. And he dealt with 2 injury issues, though Catalan came back into the game. Baines can't get it to go, and Scott kept it alive. Bennett corralled it.
You see a little frustrations from Baines there. It is a very good shot fake, 2-footed, even shot.
Down to Bennett, kicks it out to Ott. He'll take the 3, and she hits it at the buzzer. Everything going the Hoyas' way, up 21-2.
Talk about perfect execution on that. Right at the right time, inside out for the knockdown.
Asmanat hasn't been the best three-point shooter in her time at Georgetown, but boy, does she look good on that one. Hoyas looking great, up 21-2.
This is the Seton Hall story, one that comes to life every day on our campus. This is the place where great minds discover, innovate, collaborate, and find their true calling. This is the place where passion has a purpose, where learning inspires leading. The bonds we make, the values we teach, inspire our community to take heart and take action. This is Seton Hall University. This is what great minds can do.
We are not just student athletes.
We are advocates for a better world. Our platform extends beyond the basketball court.
And we will use it to be the change, to champion inclusion and break down barriers.
On our campuses.
And in our communities.
It's more than a game for us.
It's a call to action.
To use our collective voice to make an impact as Big East student athletes.
To stand up for what is right, and most importantly,
to be the change.
To be the change.
This is Georgetown, a place of passion and hard work. To be a Hoya, it takes your all. Mind, heart, a pursuit for excellence. We seek out the best in one another and ourselves.
Determined to learn.
Determined to succeed. Determined to have an impact on and off the field. A calling to reach higher than you ever thought possible.
Working as hard in the classroom as we do in the weight room.
A community rooted in Jesuit tradition.
DC is our training ground.
The world is our arena.
Together, we are stronger.
We are Georgetown.
Back in DC, a stunning start. Georgetown with a 19-point lead on Seton Hall as we start the second quarter. And right now, Marin, everything coming up Hoyas.
Georgetown could have asked for a better start, and how they ended that first quarter. Perfect execution. Grace Ann coming off a rub screen, inside out. Jasmine Yacht hitting that 3. I mean, it couldn't be any better for Georgetown right now.
And our great crew passing along this. Georgetown finished their Wake Forest game on a 15-0 run. 21-2, they've outscored their opponents 36-2 basically in the last, say, 15 minutes of basketball they've played. Can't get much better than that.
And if that doesn't talk about your defense, I mean, hands down, yes, you've got to be able to score, but you are stopping people at a high clip.
Into the game, the freshman Mayla Ham, she picks up the foul.
Look at that intensity from Coach Haney.
Baines has her shot blocked by Scott.
Baines made that more difficult. I think she had a little lefty right over the middle of the rim there. She came back into the defense.
This is really kind of gone very bad for Seton Hall. Coach Bazell was hoping to maybe wear down Georgetown's starters. They've been able to get some reserves in the game, maybe keep them a little fresher than they normally would. And Ransom called for a carry.
just the 5th turnover. But that's one of those unnecessary. Veteran lead guard, that was careless.
Pirates trying to find something offensively. Gray hoists up a 3. That's off the mark. And a foul. That's going to go on Seton Hall. Again, just nothing going right for the Pirates right now, as it'll be a foul again on the Pirates.
I know this is a home game for Georgetown, and so Seton Hall has stayed in the hotel. They've, think they're a little bit out of their element, but Georgetown really looks more composed and more confident right now. Seton Hall looks very disjointed. Is that because of the game time? Is that because of Georgetown's defensive intensity? Probably a little bit of both, but you're really seeing a much more confident Georgetown team with Brianna Scott showing us the inside game. She's got a well-established outside game as well.
I think Coach Bozzella in our calls was a bit worried about what the Warriors could do inside if they were up to their normal standards, and they're finally Seton Hall getting back on the board again. White with the bucket.
It's funny how offense gives you a little pop in your step. Everyone just ran back a little bit harder on defense for Seton Hall in that possession.
Right now, kind of like they did against Wake a bit, and that'll be a turnover. Good play by White. She's been a spark early. Baines will get herself to the foul line, and now Pirates finally have some rhythm going.
The pace picked up, right? It comes from a steal. They're able to get out, not have to play against Georgetown's set half-court defense.
And again, bucket by White, and then sets up this one for Baines. Baines, of course, an extremely interesting story. She transferred in after 2 previous stops and really got injured and wasn't doing so well. Coach Bozzella basically sat her down and said, "Look, are you okay?" And she tried to hem and haw. I said, "No, seriously, you're okay." And they basically came to an understanding. Come in for the next 40 days. We'll have folks here dedicated to practicing with you. And it really kind of got her game turning around. And Jose Ravimbas, the assistant, kind of almost his pet project, and they've really developed a close bond because of that.
It was a great story that he shared with us. Equal part Seton Hall staff, equal part Baines putting in the work.
Steal by Wright, and Seton Hall finally getting something to go with their defense.
We'll come back to this, Jeremy, but I think that's the first pick 6 that Coach Bozzella was talking to us about.
Now this is exactly what Seton Hall needs. They've got to win this second quarter to have a decent chance. Bembry will take the foul line jumper and hit.
Great answer for Georgetown just when Seton Hall got a couple back-to-back baskets and maybe found their rhythm.
He's picking up a little pressure. They did it against Wake Forest more than they normally do. Coach Haney said it was because of the guard play of Wake, wanted to kind of make it tough on them. Right now, maybe trying to speed Seton Hall up a bit. They don't play as fast as they used to. At a 5, Gray will pull up. And will not fall. Another rebound by Scott. Ransom pulls up in transition. That's off the mark. Batted around. Here comes Seton Hall. Baines, nice move.
Great lane line drive there, coming almost full court, and body control to avoid the defender, finishing with her right as a natural lefty.
Rivera was set, so Baines not committing that foul. Still a 15-point lead for Georgetown. 6.5 to go in the half. Ransom, high off glass, no good, and pulled in Satterfield. And thrown away.
I felt like I wanted to say, get it to a guard, get it to a guard, get it to a different guard. Just a little disjointed in that sequence.
Now you put your clipboard down, Coach. assistant and coach. You got that coach's eye. Glad to have you along. Always lends a little bit extra to the broadcast. Right now, Georgetown's had a little extra the way they've played so far in this one.
Grace Ann's working hard there at the elbow.
Ransom, long two, that's off the mark. Nice dish, and White with the bucket, and a timeout by Georgetown. Darnell Haney will stop this run that's got Seton Hall back into the game. Seton Hall's knocked down 4 of their last 5 shots, and now a 25-12 lead for Georgetown. Just under 6 minutes to go in the half. Georgetown with the 25-12 lead, and game of runs so far, Marn, where Georgetown got off to the big start. Seton Hall has reeled them back in.
Here in transition, Azana Baines using that right hand. That's one in transition, and then they come down right before this timeout, get the ball to the middle of the floor. The defense collapse. Nice little dump down pass. As we're talking about, who's going to get into their rhythm? Right now it's Seton Hall. Earlier it was Georgetown. Timeout is called to break that run.
Mel Haney taking it. Tony Bozzella did not take a timeout. He waited for the media timeout, got it. As Georgetown is really on fire in that first quarter. They have not scored a bucket in over 2 minutes, and that trend will continue, though actually will keep it with Georgetown on the possession area.
A little high ball screen action. Interior pass to Grace Ann Bennett.
Bennett taken away again, and stripped on the way up is right. That pick six is what Coach Bozzella was talking about.
Yeah, when we were speaking with him yesterday, he was saying the keys, and there's a couple of them, but the first one being they wanted at least 5 pick sixes, which were direct steals off of the scout, which were charges taken that would turn that into a transition opportunity or a set play opportunity. Basically talking about how his defense was going to immediately create offense.
Ransom trying to create some offense of her own. Cowan open 3, that's off the mark. And nice play to keep it alive. Tie up, it will go with Seton Hall, but Gray able to get it over to Lopes.
Jeremy, both coaches yesterday talked to us about physicality, and it looks different, a little bit different, but quite similar. There are multiple jump ball situations, many people in the paint. We've seen multiple scrums on the ground. These two teams are playing really, really hard, which speaks to the physicality and also the importance of defense.
Both these teams, hard-nosed attitudes. That was some basis of the Tasha Tough mentality for the Hoyas. Always playing that good defense. Satterfield kicks it out. Lopes will take a three. That's off the mark. Cowan with the board. Bembry calls for it and gets through and scores.
Great advance pass, and then Bembry with the quick rip and go baseline.
She called for it. Knew exactly what she was going to do. Kick out to Baines and thrown away, and that sink that Seton Hall got into have gotten out of it just as quickly. Bembry already with 6 points, Martin.
In transition, and that was again something that Coach Haney talked to us about. He wanted to be more efficient in transition offense.
Clawed back out for Georgetown. Ransom kicks it out. Bembry passes it in. Bennett double team. She'll get it out to Claude, had to heave it up. And Baines will go.
Bennett would have been better served, just going right up without the dribble.
Open three, that's off the mark, batted around. Bembry will be tied up, but Hoya ball missed by Gray. Bembry, as we talked about, actually a few players on this team as we take a look at the quick replay as Bembry playing the inspired ball already, 6 points, 5 rebounds against her former team. But Bembry not only has players that she played with at Seton Hall, she also has players she played with previous stops. And again, as we talked about the transfers, it's kind of just making everybody know everybody right now in college hoops as Scott tries to chase it down, can't get there.
Well, you make a good point with Bembry coming from Seton Hall, but with Seton Hall's influx of transfers, how many were actually teammates? And, you know, we talked about that a little bit as well. Just the fluidity of players in college basketball now.
Shaylin Hagan's actually a player that Bembry played with both at Penn State and at Seton Hall. And I don't think we'll ever see that, but it's very possible we could see players playing together at 3 different schools. Baines will take a three. That one around and out, no good. And chased down, Catalan, and it'll be off her hands, Georgetown ball. And we talked about before this kind of tying together former teammates. Number 4, Jada Claude, and number 11, Zana Baines, when they were at Duke. Of course, they would go on to different schools and then come back to the Big East at different teams. Ransom throws it up, no good, gets her own rebound, and she'll be fouled. And of course, assistant coach Kelly Mazzanti, your former college teammate at Penn State.
She is, yes. Penn State's all-time leading scorer with over 2,900 points. She shot a lot of threes. I set a lot of screens. It worked really well.
This is why you're good, because if you didn't say that I was going to, but you went ahead and did it.
And shout out to Mama Maz. I know she's recovering from a hip replacement and watching today. I did enjoy setting screens for your daughter.
Down to 10 on the shot clock. Cowan, Harry gets it off to Ransom and checks the clock. She'll go to work. And has it stripped again. Defense all day by Wright.
But Ransom's right back there in defense.
And talking to Coach Bozzella, you could tell they were focused on Ransom, as you would be. Another miss, though, by Baines. Ransom off the screen. It's to Bembry. She's been a catalyst in this one so far. Scott takes the shot and knocks it down.
Nice reverse pivot, kept the basketball high, never thought twice.
team effort so far by Georgetown. Ransom is second leading scorer behind Scott, but a lot of contributions. Baines takes the three. That one goes, and she says, finally, it's something to go here. For that shot, Baines, 1 of 9 from the floor.
And she's such an important part of this Seton Hall team on the offensive end, that's got to release a little bit of pressure for everybody when they know that their go-to finally made a basket.
An offensive foul as Catalan gets banged down. And foul on Claude, her second.
We're going to see Catalan here work around this screen. Young players, if you die in that screen, that's not going to get called. But she works to get underneath, which causes the whistle to be blown.
Coach Bozzella called it in our call, Mar, and he said she's going to pick up 1 or 2 illegal screens. Did it right there.
Coaches know their players, right?
Yes,
they know exactly who they are and what they're capable of doing.
Oh, looking for a little mini run here as a walk on Harvey Carr. Shuffled the foot. Harvey Carr, the transfer from Manhattan, also spent time at Rhode Island.
I feel like I need to give you extra time. After you say everybody's name, there's a little paragraph about where they spent time. And we mean that in all the good ways, right? Players are finding situations that work for them where they can really shine.
All credit to not only Coach Bozzella, but he gave credit to Amari Wright about how this team has come together despite so many new faces, really 9 in total. Ransom kicks it out. Bennett, short jumper, good.
Kelsey Ransom draws so much attention that it leaves a player like Grace Ann Bennett wide open in the paint or a foot off for that little jumper.
Under 30 to go. About a 7-second difference shot to game clock. Higgins. Davis. Turn around. That will fall over the rim.
Now that's the role she didn't get early in the first quarter. Same post move, different result.
Ransom kicks it out. Open look for 3 for Scott, and rattles out. Almost knocked it down, but the Hoyas still happy as they head to the locker room, leading 31-17. Seton Hall look to regroup. Hoyas will look to keep it going. Big lead at the half. Georgetown, Kelsey Ransom and company have looked really good. Can they keep it up in the second half? We shall see. Halftime coverage coming up from our nation's capital.
Before we move on to
Happy Hoya fans as Georgetown leads Seton Hall 31-17 at the half here in D.C. Join Megan Caffrey, Kim Adams, Isis Young, and Lisa Carlin as they take you inside Big East women's basketball each week on the In the Bonus podcast. This week's special guest is Seton Hall's Azana Baines. You can find In the Bonus wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Here's a clip of this week's show.
Before we move on to some of the games that we're looking forward to this week, we do have to give a shout out to Xavier. Big dub for the Musketeers over the weekend. So shout out to Xavier. Congratulations to them on that win. Let's stick with the Pirates before we go around the horn to everyone else. Ice, I know you are excited for what Seton Hall has coming up, another conference game on tap for them.
Yeah, taking on Georgetown on Wednesday. I'm really excited for the Hoyas and their opportunity. This is a team that's coming to conference play also feeling really good. They just got a double-digit win over Wake Forest on Sunday, and defense has been the name of their game. I think just first right now in the league in terms of the points allowed defensively, they're only allowing 46 points per game. So, like, if they only have to score 50, they're still winning by a margin of 4 points. So their defense is awesome. And then also field goal percentage. Their opponents are shooting 32%. So I think in terms of Seton Hall going into this game, you just have to get good shot selection. If you don't, they're going to force you to shoot bad shots. They're going to rebound. Kelsey Ransom is going to do Kelsey Ransom things. She's so fun watching play. Like, I just so much enjoy, like, the pizzazz that she plays with, real hardcore, and then always just great teammate. You can always see her at any point when she doesn't have to be talking to someone. She's finding someone to talk to and give information to. But I think this is a really good matchup for both teams to test where they are right now starting conference playoff. It's not an easy task at all on either side.
Score update real quick for us. UConn and Butler just wrapped. The Huskies came away on top 88-62, the final score of that one. And Kim, is your passport ready? Because you're about to hop over the border because you're following the Huskies
I'm
up
super
to Canada.
excited. So UConn is playing what's technically an exhibition game in Toronto. It's Aaliyah Edwards' homecoming game. We know Gino likes to bring all his seniors home. They had Paige at Minnesota. Nika Mule was in Croatia with the team this summer. So yeah, UConn is playing a team called Toronto Metropolitan University. I still have to do some research, but apparently they're undefeated in their league. But this is really all about Aaliyah going home. I saw a nice article, nice connections between former UConn player Kia Nurse, who's also from Canada. We're expecting her to be at the game. We're hoping to speak with her on the broadcast. But I think it's going to be such a fun week right before the holidays. This is personally my first time in Canada, so I don't really know what to expect. I don't know if you ladies have been there, if you have any little tips. I just know I need to have my passport packed and I'll figure out the rest. Yes. But yeah, so the game will be Wednesday. This will be on national TV Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern on FS2. Check it out. But yeah, if you have
nice. Kim, yeah, you need a passport and maybe like a jacket.
I haven't checked the weather yet, which is probably I should do that because I'm leaving tomorrow. So yeah, let me do that. Like, do I need a parka? Do I need snow boots?
When I the Big East preseason women's basketball season tour, it was actually really fun up at UConn. I got to talk to Aaliyah about the game, and she was just like the excitement that she had to bring her teammates up to Canada was just, you could just feel the energy that she had. And it was so fun. We're there. And all of this Canadian media was there as well. So they were, I mean, and it's just great. Also, when you think about it too, right? It's so great for the game.
Yeah. Now that you say that, I forgot to mention the game is sold out. I think it's like a 10,000 seat arena. And we know that Canada and the city of Toronto specifically is really into women's basketball. They had the first ever WNBA game there. This preseason, they sold out Scotiabank Arena with, 15 to 17,000 fans. So you're right. It's expanding the global reach of the game. Canada is a country. Toronto is a city that's really excited about women's basketball. So I'm excited for the atmosphere. I will report back on all the amazing things that are hopefully going to happen.
I can't wait. Maybe we should find a way for you to ask Aaliyah what to eat while you're there so that you can report back on food. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all about the food.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's all about the food. Oops. Lisa, let's keep the excitement rolling. Okay. What are you excited for this weekend?
Yeah, well, I want to see how Marquette does because they, of course, had this big game against Creighton, and then they played they will play, I guess, by the time this podcast comes out, 2 non-conference opponents at App State, which they narrowly beat. That happened earlier this week and on Sunday. And then they play Bucknell before they get back into conference play. And it's difficult, right, to be able to go from conference play to non-conference play, because when you make your non-conference schedule, you're looking for opponents that play similar styles to teams in your conference, or at least play different tactics that you could see later on in the season. And whether that's setups or personnel types, individuals like that. So it's a little tricky now for Marquette to go from one Big East game against Creighton and then to have to play 2 more and then get a little time off before they go play UConn, right? They have a really tough Big East start. They played Creighton, which they got the dub. Then they go to UConn. Then they go to St. John's. They host Xavier. And then they go to Seton Hall. Like, guys, that is a tough run of games for Marquette coming up. The biggest one, though, of course, UConn. That's happening on New Year's Eve, Sunday, December 31st. That's a little bit farther away, but this pod drops on Wednesday, so you'll get Bucknell the next day, Thursday, and then Marquette, UConn, New Year's
right
Eve.
to it.
Yeah, and that's right to it, right?
In the Georgetown with the 31-17 lead. More halftime coverage coming up from McDonough Arena after these words.
Fresh, warm hot dogs.
When I'm not selling hot dogs, I invest in a fund that advances innovations like robotics.
Fresh, warm hot dogs straight out of my torso. One for you, one for you. Oh, you're a messy one.
Cool, right? So cool.
Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives you access to NASDAQ 100 innovations.
Hot dogs. Fresh, warm hot dogs.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risk, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
This is Georgetown, a place of passion and hard work. To be a Hoya, it takes your all. Mind, heart, a pursuit for excellence. We seek out the best in one another and ourselves.
Determined to learn.
Determined to succeed. Determined to have an impact on and off the field. A calling to reach higher than you ever thought possible.
Working as hard in the classroom as we do in the weight room.
A community rooted in Jesuit tradition.
DC is our training ground.
The world is our arena.
Together, we are stronger.
We are Georgetown.
Great drive fuels the leaders of tomorrow and today. Great vision paves the way for a brighter future. Great ambition goes places, moving onward and upward. Great empathy finds strength in kindness and in each other, working together to create something bigger than they ever imagined. Great minds can change the world, and great minds start at Seton Hall.
Back at our nation's capital, Georgetown with a 14-point lead on Seton Hall to half. Jeremy Huber, Marin Walseth with you. Of course, around the Big East, out of action over the next 2 days. Of course, DePaul and Xavier about to get going. Of course, a big one north of the border later tonight, Marin.
That's fantastic to grow the basketball game, to grow women's basketball. The ladies were talking about it over halftime. I think that's the next step, is where else can women's basketball? The NFL does it well. The NBA does it well. Where is women's basketball growing?
Coach UConn headed up north of the border. Also, Providence taking on Baylor in tournament action. Of course, tomorrow, a lot of games on the slate as well. A couple ranked teams, of course, Creighton and Marquette trying to stay that way.
Teams trying to get these games in. Some of them, the first round games of the conference, some non-conference before the holiday break. Marquette's rolling there, hosting Bucknell, another transfer, Franny Hottinger doing her thing. Jordan King also at Marquette. Creighton's ranked.
And of course, the Philly matchup between Villanova and LaSalle. Those, of course, always are tough games. Georgetown trying to come away with a win to start conference play. They lead Seton Hall 31-17 in DC.
We are not just student athletes.
We are advocates for a better world. Our platform extends beyond the basketball court.
And we will use it to be the change. To champion inclusion and break down barriers.
On our campuses.
And in our communities.
It's more than a game for us.
It's a call to action.
To use our collective voice to make an impact as Big East student athletes.
To stand up for what is right, and most importantly,
to be the change.
To be the change.
Great drive fuels the leaders of tomorrow and today. Great vision paves the way for a brighter future. Great ambition goes places, moving onward and upward. Great empathy finds strength in kindness and in each other, working together to create something bigger than they ever imagined. Great minds can change the world, and great minds start at Seton Hall. Saturday night, the biggest game is on Fox Primetime Hoops. It's a battle in the Big East as St. John's takes on 5th-ranked UConn. What a champ! Tristan Newton leads the reigning national champion Huskies as they fight for the top spot in the country. There it is! But Rick Pitino and his Red Storm squad are eyeing an upset. St. John's, UConn, Saturday at 7:30 Eastern on Fox.
The biggest games are on Fox Primetime Hoops.
This is Georgetown, a place of passion and hard work. To be a Hoya, it takes your all. Mind, heart, a pursuit for excellence. We seek out the best in one another and ourselves.
Determined to learn.
Determined to succeed. Determined to have an impact on and off the field. A calling to reach higher than you ever thought possible.
Working as hard in the classroom as we do in the weight room.
A community rooted in Jesuit tradition.
DC is our training ground.
The world is Sauer Arena.
Together, we are stronger.
We are Georgetown.
Back at our nation's capital, Georgetown with the 31-17 lead on Seton Hall. Jeremy Huber, Marin Walsteth with you. Marin, what stands out to you stats-wise in the first for Georgetown and for Seton Hall?
We knew it was going to be a defensive battle, but look at the rebounding discrepancy. Georgetown up 15 in that category, 25 rebounds in one half, and 10 of those have been on the offensive end. They have not converted into second chance points per se, but it certainly has worn down the physical stature of Seton Hall, but more so probably the mental capacity.
Leading scorer in this one off the bench, Brianna Scott, 8 points. Zana Baines leads Seton Hall with 7, but was on 2 of 10 shooting, so not as efficient as she would like. And we're underway here in the second half as Georgetown kind of changing up, not going with their starters as they add in Bembry into the starting lineup after she played a great first half. Gray with the 3, count it. This is what the doctor ordered for Seton Hall after that just miserable first quarter, I should say, scoring. And you come right out and get a 3.
You talk about who's starting the second half here for Georgetown. That's something that Coach Haney talked to us about. He feels like anybody can start at any time, and obviously he changed it up and it worked out well.
Rivera answers a big 3 by Seton Hall to start the half.
And now we're seeing a little full court pressure for the first time. Georgetown certainly doesn't want to let their foot off the gas on the defensive end here.
And inside, foul will be called. That would go on Bennett. As Wrestling down low, that physicality we've seen all game long. Gray with a 3 there, and Rivera, the other number 3, would answer with her own 3.
And then 33 gets the foul at this end.
Here we go. Three's company. 14-point lead for the Hoyas. Seton Hall bench looking for a foul as Rivera will give it up to Gray. He'll go to the line for a trio of shots.
Offense was a little stagnant there for Seton Hall. Not that this is a bad shot per se, but with 12 on the shot clock settling, perhaps attack the rim, get a couple ball reversals.
Gray comes into this one, 12 of 17, 71% from the charity stripe. First half, Seton Hall had just 4 free throws. We made 2. We're at 6 of 6.
Coach Bozzella is just so pleased with that young player in Micah Gray, how she's assimilated to his program, has the respect of so many of her teammates, and really has a bright future.
Another tie-up. Saw plenty of those in the first half.
That was the stat that we were supposed to be keeping track of. Was the jump balls, was the physicality, was the extra effort, was the hustle.
Georgetown, obviously, that rebounding advantage, had their way there. And I know Haney told us when he was talking about how he wants them to rebound, he said, I don't care if it goes over the fence, goes anywhere else, you go get the ball. Another getting the ball there, another steal by Wright. And almost thrown away, but Baines gathers herself, can't get it to go.
Unlucky bounce, because that was the right move, away from the defense, over the front rim. But it's been that kind of day for Seton Hall. Bounce, bounce, bounce out.
Honestly, right now, Marin, if not for that defense from Wright, I don't know where Seton Hall would be. So many steals and what she's created today as Ransom takes the long 2 off the mark.
Great box out there by Baines.
Wright only credited with 3 steals. Feels like she has much more than that. Satterfield loses control, gets it back out. Right down the lane, shot blocks, jump ball stays with the Pirates.
Short shot clock here of 8 seconds. You see, yeah, good defense by Kelsey Ransom there. Just staying in front of the basketball.
Baines back to Wright. Gray gonna have to hoist it. She does, off the mark. Rebound though, put back up and in, and a chance for a 3-point play for Satterfield.
Seton Hall's not going away. We see the late clock shot that has to go up with 1 on the shot clock, and just a great position there by Satterfield, using her strength, using those shoulders. I think part of their persistence that Seton Hall has is their maturity. They've got so many seniors or graduate seniors. They're not going to get rattled just because they're down for an extended amount of time. Certainly it takes a lot of effort to climb out of a hole, but they've got the maturity to handle that.
Never good to get down 21-2, but to do it in the first quarter, you got 3 quarters to come back. Ransom almost has it taken away again. To Bembry. Down, trying to feed the post, off the mark to Scott. Gray finds Satterfield under the bucket and good.
That pass was on a line. That had some velocity to it.
Huge Georgetown lead is down to just 7 points. It was comfortable in the first half, but Georgetown has not been here in the second. Ransom, short, but she's fouled.
Kelsey Ransom get herself to the foul line. She's so good at probing the defense. This time we see coming off of a high ball screen by Brianna Scott. Look at that little hesitation. Look at this pass on a string. Hey, you have to be able to deliver that pass, but your teammates have to be expecting it.
Davis with the foul. Her first. Ransom to the line. You're right. See so many times. Great pass, but if your teammate's not ready for it, doesn't matter. Ransom 2 of 8 from the field today. Doesn't have 7 points. Has 3 turnovers. Makes 1 of 2. Point lead for the Hoyas. Game they led by 19 after the first quarter, but Seton Hall was chipped away and now back within striking distance. Satterfield has it stripped by Ott. They'll chase it down, and Ott on the end line. They'll stay with the Pirates.
Ott just gets her hand in there. Ran out of real estate. He's called for being on the line, hence the turnover. Jeremy, you bring up that first quarter, 21-2. However, the second quarter, Seton Hall outscored Georgetown, and they're outscoring them again here in the third.
Fight for the rebound. That is going to go on Baines. And I think Baines might have been close to possible technical. She got a long look from the referee after some words were said. It's about the frustration for Baines so far today. 2 of 11 from the field. Normally Baines shoots 42%. Goes Ransom, kicks it over Scott and hits it, and a chance for one more.
It's a big time pass and a big time finish by Brianna Scott, keeping the basketball nice and high. Again, Kelsey Ransom, look at, she brings the help defense. Satterfield to help, the helper is slow. I love seeing that kind of energy and that kind of emotion from Brianna Scott.
Scott getting patched back up, maybe some blood. It's interesting, we asked Coach Haney about it and said, you know, kind of her grit picked up a little bit. And he said, you know, she's got more mature. And, you know, early in her career, maybe more of a kind of outside shooter, but now she's kind of realizing just what force she can be on the inside.
Maturation process, embracing the full skill set that she possesses. And it's really stepping into your own of the kind of impact you can make.
Again, he also said that the fact that she can be an outside shooter just brings another element to the game where she's just not kind of hanging on the post. Babylon gets it out to Gray. Down the lane, nice dish, and a score by White.
Nice attack, and it started with slow communication on that switch. White was able to get the step.
Ransom down the lane, and offensive foul on Ransom. Defense again by Seton Hall, Martin.
A charge, that was another thing that the Seton Hall staff mentioned to us. Is that the start of yet another run here for Seton Hall?
Big East women's basketball is brought to you by Invesco QQQ, official ETF for the Big East Conference. Georgetown with a 38-29 lead on Seton Hall midway through the third quarter. Of course, Mara and Hoyas come into this one with a 9-1 record. They have enough to kind of close this one out. Again, early on, so closing out talk, babe, but again, a Seton Hall team that is pretty experienced.
So it's withstanding the run. I think Seton Hall has been able to do that, as clawing themselves back into this, and so then it turns to Georgetown. Can their senior leaders step up and show composure, show maturity, and not get caught up in something too fast or too dirty or too ugly, you know, for their skill sets?
Boys have played a few close games this year. The loss to Brown, the win over Howard, one bucket games. But on the flip side, some of their games, especially their California trip, close games that they kind of just put the anaconda vice on, if you will, and kind of took the game over at the end. Don't think they'll do that against Seton Hall today. Pirates too good, though, almost a steal by Scott.
Coach Haney was really complimentary of their execution, specifically in late games, and that's what he's talking about, those close games. So they have been tested. Can they do it here, if needed, again today?
Baines on the back, goes back to right. Short shot clock, puts up the three and hits it.
Almost like the tougher the shot, the better shot that Seton Hall has of it going in at this point.
Embry guarded tough by Catalan. Now looking for a friendly, finds it in Ransom. Two-possession game. The Pirates have scrapped their way back into this one. Claude, long two, off the mark. Bennett can't corral the rebound, and it'll be a foul or just a turnover. Gonna call a foul.
I felt that was a possession that needed a touch in the interior. Ball's at the top of the key. A big duck in by Brianna Scott or maybe Grace Ann Bennett. There's no help when the basketball's at the top of the key in the middle of the floor.
At the fifth team foul, La Jolla is in the quarter, so Seton Hall will be shooting free throws for the next 4 minutes.
Now strategy comes into play for Seton Hall. How do they call their offensive sets, get themselves into transition where they are attacking, not settling for outside jump shots, but throwing the basketball inside, attacking the rim, forcing Georgetown to play defense without fouling.
4-point game. As Seton Hall's bench and fans sensing a chance to take this one over. And the Hoyas have a good possession, and then a silly foul up top by McKenna White.
Silly foul, lots of physicality, lots of contact, and Scott was able to hold her own and also hold her cool.
Again, you being a former coach, I would assume that happens in the post. You say, okay, out of three-point range, Papernet is happy about it.
But it's also two people who battle on the inside, and so you see that, and as a, you say coach, I say player, like, there's always contact. It's always physical if that's your style of play, and it certainly is for both of these programs.
Scott will hoist a three off the mark, and off the knee of Cowan. Hoy has had a chance at the offensive rebound, couldn't corral it. Now Hoyas with just 17 points in the second and third quarters. Remember, they had 21 in the first. Gray dishes it off, hook shot in the lane, off the mark, fought for, out of bounds off Seton Hall.
Unlucky bounce, unlucky finish, but that's Seton Hall's best offense here to end this quarter, knowing the foul situation for Georgetown.
Ransom with it, 8 points so far on the day. She has been harassed by her right, has picked her pocket a few times. 10 on the shot clock. Cowan and Catalan picks up the foul.
There's really nothing excessive that Catalan's doing, but she is certainly aggressive, and you see the male version football player, and you know that kid's going to be playing on Sundays for sure. But she's just tough. She's strong, she's tough, she's moving her feet. They're a little too aggressive with her hands. But that's a player you can build your defense around.
I tell you, anytime you grow up with a Division I football player as a little sister, you got to be tough, right? Trying to extend Georgetown's lead, and it misses both. Allen came in 85% from the charity stripe, but misses 2 free throws. Gray off to Baines, 3-pointer. That is gonna miss. Shot blocked by Scott. And it looked like White had the easy layup, then saved in bounds, ends up back to Seton Hall.
That was a great block by Scott. Disjointed on the steal there to finish it off.
Seton Hall, turnover. Can they convert it, make it a 2-point game? Turnaround jumper blocked by Scott. There for the rebound, though, is Harvey Carr.
Again, Scott did her job with that block shot.
Darnell Haney trying to get more movement out of his offense. They've gone stagnant here with 90 seconds to go in the third quarter. And the 10. There goes Cowan trying to make something happen. Kicks it out, steal. Seton Hall can tie it up, take the lead with a 3. They'll have their chance. Here's Harvey Carr, count it, and the Pirates have the lead.
Huge shot for Seton Hall, and now how do the Hoyas respond? Coach Haney calls the timeout as I expected. He wants control over the last possession of offense and defense for Georgetown.
12-0 Seton Hall run over the last 4:14, and the Hoyas punch back. They now trail by 1.
We are not just student athletes.
We are advocates for a better world. Our platform extends beyond the basketball court.
And we will use it to be the change. To champion inclusion and break down barriers.
On our campuses.
And in our communities.
It's more than a game for us.
It's a call to action.
To use our collective voice to make an impact as Big East student athletes.
To stand up for what is right, and most importantly,
to be the change.
To be the change.
This is Georgetown, a place of passion and hard work. To be a Hoya, it takes your all. Mind, heart, a pursuit for excellence. We seek out the best in one another and ourselves.
Determined to learn.
Determined to succeed. Determined to have an impact on and off the field. A calling to reach higher than you ever thought possible.
Working as hard in the classroom as we do in the weight room.
A community rooted in Jesuit tradition.
DC is our training ground.
The World Isawa Arena.
Together, we are stronger.
We are Georgetown.
Fresh, warm hot dogs.
When I'm not selling hot dogs, I invest in a fund that advances innovations like robotics.
Fresh, warm hot dogs straight out of my torso. One for you, one for you. Oh, you're a messy one.
Cool, right? So cool.
Anyone can become an agent of innovation with Invesco QQQ, a fund that gives you access to NASDAQ 100 innovations.
Hot dogs. Fresh, warm hot dogs.
Before investing, carefully read and consider fund investment objectives, risk, charges, expenses, and more in prospectus at Invesco.com.
Great drive fuels the leaders of tomorrow and today. Great vision paves the way for a brighter future. Great ambition goes places, moving onward and upward. Great empathy finds strength in kindness and in each other, working together to create something bigger than they ever imagined. Great minds can change the world, and great minds start at Seton Hall.
Things have turned in our nation's capital as Seton Hall with a 39-38 lead on Georgetown after trailing this one by 21 in the third quarter. And again, a game of runs, Maren. You've seen it. That Hoya great start. Seton Hall locked in, and they've been great since.
And now we're in the midst of a 12-0 Seton Hall run, and this is the three that puts Seton Hall ahead for the first time today. The lefty shooting it well, coach says. Out a little bit in the summer and early in practice with an injury, fought her way back, wanted to play this year, did not want to sit out this year.
Here comes Ransom trying to get the Hoyas back in the lead. She does.
Perfect answer. Clear out the side. Fake using the ball screen, reject it.
Saw in the first quarter, Hoyas kind of fueled by those inside points. They dominated on the glass, drive in, off the mark, batted around, chased down Rivera, keeps it in, and this time the Hoyas corral it.
Georgetown is getting a 2-for-1 situation here, meaning Kelsey Ransom scored that previous basket so quickly. They get another shot here. Can they build the lead?
Ransom has it and knocked away from Myrick's. Under 10 on the game clock. Shot clock is off. Ransom takes a long two. That's going to hit the top of the backboard. And we will go to the end of the third quarter. Georgetown has their lead back, but a completely different ball game than we had early on here in D.C. Hoyas up 40-39 on Seton Hall. Come on back for an exciting fourth. Georgetown with a 1-point lead, 40-39 as we start the fourth quarter. Kelsey Ransom, again, their usual stat sheet stuffing. 10 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, though again, maybe not as efficient as they would like. Only 3 of 10 from the field and take it away as Baines will give Seton Hall the lead back.
That's at least 3 of those 5 pick sixes that Coach Bozzella told us were keys to the game.
Interesting, Georgetown, a lot of reserves out there to start the quarter. Some of their starters on the bench, no real foul trouble. for the Hoyas. Hot pulls up in the lane. That's off the mark. And Scott kept it alive and kicked ahead. And Ransom will chase it down. Georgetown will keep possession.
And a full 30. Yeah, the referees are going to say that there was no clear control by Seton Hall. So that will reset to 20.
Right now, trying to figure it out. And of course,
this is the first play of the quarter. Comes from a steal right off of the inbound. Just the way Seton Hall wanted to start, not the way Georgetown drew it up.
Those pick sixes, as Coach Bozzella calls them. We've had a few already. That was so important. Just stressed it so much to you and I on our call.
Well, it's easy baskets, right? You don't have to go for 20, 25 seconds against a set defense. And it also shows that your kids are paying attention to the scout. They're in the right spots. They're locked in. They're focused.
Bennett down low to Scott, and off glass, can't hit it, but she'll be fouled from behind.
I like that post-to-post passing. Mid-post to low post. Grace Ann's able to recognize that double team.
Harvey Carr picks up the foul, her first. Team first here in the fourth quarter. Scott came into this one. 79% free throw shooter. Makes two to put the Hoyas back in the lead. The Hoyas have shown that court pressure just a little bit all game. Of course, formerly with Warren Park Lane here. Probably wouldn't do that.
Well, there's a little contained. Just make Seton Hall know you're there. Use up a little clock. Not necessarily trying to turn them over in the backcourt.
Gray up off the hoop, no good, and Bennett comes down with a board.
Rebound number 10 there for Grace Ann Bennett.
Get it to her, and off the glass, they will say before the shot. They're gonna count it.
But that's the duck in that I like. In transition, she finds herself 2 feet in the paint. Look at how deep that position is. She's got two, there's no post move. That's a turn, that's a catch and turn.
So a 3-point play for Grace Ann Bennett. And almost a steal. Bennett was lurking behind.
And here's your 4 player in the very skilled Baines being able to help break that press.
Harvey Carr tried to answer, couldn't do it. And that will be Seton Hall basketball. White thought she was fouled the way she got up off the deck, and that look on her face like, where's the whistle?
How did I end up down here?
The old talking heads, how did I get here? Gray for 3, that's well off the mark and out of bounds. Micah Gray, the transfer from Texas Southern, just dominant down in the SWAC. And of course, Coach Bozzella told us that really, first time he saw her, wasn't super impressed, but his former assistant, longtime assistant, told him basically, look, you know, you got to take her. She's very, very good. And Lauren DeFalco just kind of was almost to the point of an argument, said, you got to take her. She's going to be a star. And he was like, I'm glad she was right, and I'm glad she convinced me. Scott for 3, off the mark, pulled in by Satterfield. Point lead for Georgetown. Pass down low. Baines somehow gets open and somehow scores!
Wow, she's working hard down there in amongst a lot of hands. To be honest, Jeremy, I thought it was a bit of a poor pass, passing into traffic, really putting that post player, putting Baines in a tough spot to make a catch in traffic. Uses her pivot, that natural lefty, high off the glass. Is that the basket that kind of gets Baines over the hump?
Converts the three-point play. Scott picked up the foul. She got tangled up with Satterfield. On the right with a little backcourt pressure, and Ott lost it for a second.
Seton Hall's defense is forcing Georgetown to play well outside the scoring area. Again, nice duck in by Grace Ann Bennett.
The mark, and the Hall can take the lead. Right down low, foul on the floor on Ransom. That'll be team third.
Azada Baines saw the mouse in the house, as many teams call it, saw the guard trying to play post defense, commanded the basketball, drew the foul.
And another foul on the Hoyas. This will go on Rivera. Actually, this will be their third team foul. Starting to stack up a little bit. Real foul trouble on Catalan with 4. Ransom and Bennett both have 3 for Georgetown. And another foul called. And that's going to be 4 on Bennett.
And she can't believe it, and it's one of those, you get in an arm wrestling match without even meaning to. Unnecessary. She's so valuable to this team. She's going to take a seat as Maya Membre comes back in, excuse me.
That's huge. These Hoyas have done a great job on the boards with Scott and Bennett out there at the same time. Now, shifts that advantage maybe back to Seton Hall. Satterfield against Bembry. Tries to muscle through, misses everything in a shot clock violation.
Seton Hall's looking to get a specific player, a specific shot, but that was just very slow developing. Seton Hall really got back into this game in the end of the first, beginning of the second, because of the pace that they were playing, not only in the full court, but in the half court.
Ransom has it taken away and off her foot. You can tell they have a well-scouted Kelsey Ransom today, Maren. They know exactly what she likes to do and have been there in her hip pocket for most of the game.
And when she's the top person on the scouting report, you know that tight situations, she's going to have the ball. You know what she's going to do, and being able to make her uncomfortable really disrupts the Georgetown offense.
Baines on Bembry. Turnaround in the lane, off the mark, and Scott with a big board. Manott still out there running the point. Ott will take the 3 off the mark. Baines boards it. And taken back by Ott. And tries to get it to Scott. Can't do it. And now tie-up will be forced and back to Seton Hall. Trying to thread that pass through, but too many active hands for the Pirates. I think we have a break, maybe a contact coming out.
One sneaky defender in Ott coming in. She's trying to get it there to Scott. And no disrespect to any non-conference opponents, but things are different come conference play. Whether the the players have actually played each other before. The coaches have coached or maybe have not coached against each other. There's just another level of effort, another level of energy, of focus, understanding what's at stake to a different level.
Clawed into the game. Three-pointer blocked by Rivera, and another tie-up. And this will go Georgetown's way.
Great defense there by Rivera, coming off that stagger screen, staying in the play.
Lauren, right now, Georgetown with about the smallest lineup they'll throw out there. Bembry 6'1", Claude 6 foot.
Which says a lot when you have Bennett at 6'3", and you have Scott at 6'4". Are they trying a little bit more small ball so that they're able to switch more screens on the ball handlers? Keep the basketball in front as Seton Hall has found success attacking the rim. But then obviously you give up, potentially rebounding or a low post threat.
It's really where they made their hay in that first quarter, just dominating the glass, especially on the offensive end. See what they can do here. Up by 1, Rivera. Gets it over to Bembry. Goes Ott, takes the shot and hits it. Yasmin Ott coming up big today, 5 points. And a 3-point lead for Georgetown.
Ott did not look rushed at all. She looked very composed, like that was a shot that she was meaning to take the entire possession.
And really relied on her, only averages 9 minutes per contest. Gray, baseline jumper, count it.
Gray took advantage of a poor closeout there by Rivera.
Next whistle will give us the media timeout. And thrown away, Satterfield, good play to get rid of it. Pass up ahead, trying to get it inside off a Ransom, and it will stay with Seton Hall as we head to break. Good one coming down the stretch. Hard fought, Hoyas and Pirates looking for their first Big East win of the season.
We are not just student athletes.
We are advocates for a better world. Our platform extends beyond the basketball court.
And we will use it to be the change. To champion inclusion and break down barriers.
On our campuses.
And in our communities.
It's more than a game for us.
It's a call to action.
To use our collective voice to make an impact as Big East student athletes.
To stand up for what is right, and most importantly,
to be the change.
To be the change.
This is Georgetown, a place of passion and hard work. To be a Hoya, it takes your all. Mind, heart, a pursuit for excellence. We seek out the best in one another and ourselves.
Determined to learn.
Determined to succeed. Determined to have an impact on and off the field. A calling to reach higher than you ever thought possible.
Working as hard in the classroom as we do in the weight room.
A community rooted in Jesuit tradition.
DC is our training ground.
The world is Sauer Arena.
Together, we are stronger.
We are Georgetown.
Great drive fuels the leaders of tomorrow and today. Great vision paves the way for a brighter future. Great ambition goes places, moving onward and upward. Great empathy finds strength in kindness and in each other, working together to create something bigger than they ever imagined. Great minds can change the world, and great minds start at Seton Hall.
Hoyas up on the Pirates by 1, 4:03 left to go. And of course, this one coming down the stretch. And of course, Martin, you have to ask yourself, did our non-conference prepare us for our conference schedule?
And some of that comes into style of play, but another component of that is execution. Were you tested at end of games, at end of shot clocks? Do you have, as a coaching staff, do both of these coaches have quick hitters in to get that specific player a shot at the right time? And we're going to see that. We're going to see if they are prepared.
Right to inbound. Finally gets it in to Baines as Scott took a shoulder to the face. And I think the official's going to talk this over. Is this just a whistle, or are they going to call a foul? I don't think it's kind of inadvertent contact.
I think, unfortunately, Baines was going one direction and Scott was going the opposite, and they collided.
Call Bembry for a foul.
Yeah. Ooh. Scott's going in, trying to get a hand on the basketball. Obviously, receive some contact, and the referees will go over when there's contact above the shoulders. They're going to replay it, look to see if there was anything illegal, unnecessary. But you also see Brianna Scott over there with a mirror and her contact on her finger. So not only is maybe there a little bit of blood, but there's also making sure she can see straight.
So here's the question, Marin. They assessed the foul to Bembry. I didn't see any contact from Bembry on that play. Maybe I missed it, but especially after they blew the whistle, it looked like it would either have to be a Baines or a Scott foul, one or the other. It's possible the official gave the wrong number, but second official is going to go in and check it out.
So this is the tough part. There's momentum. There's a basketball game, but you want to get this right, given it's a one-point game here, still with four minutes to play. So both of these squads are using this as a mini timeout. Collect themselves, certainly get your context situated if you're Brianna Scott, but also what's the out-of-bounds play? What defense are we in? What's our next play? How do we get the momentum back?
So, officials will Darnell Haney. And Baines will shoot two. A chance to put the Pirates back in front.
You see Brianna Scott just kind of biting her lip there.
And now one official's telling the other official that she thinks the foul is wrong. And yeah, so he originally gave the wrong signal. I saw him put the 1 and the fist up, which would be 10. So that's what the issue was. So the foul will go on Scott. That will be her second, I believe. And 2 for Baines and a 1-point lead for the Pirates. Bembry running the point right now. Scott, long 2, good.
Great execution, inside, outside. Bennett able to read that double team, and Scott makes herself available.
Talked about Scott's outside shooting. It's another weapon. 6'4". Pass tipped away. Satterfield grabs it, scores, and a chance for one more. Satterfield happy on that one.
Inside out for Georgetown. And now here on the other end, we've got the help from Bennett, but Bembry is slow in helping the helper and called for that foul.
Satterfield makes it. So now Seton Hall with a 2-point lead as we come down the stretch in DC.
Same play here for Georgetown. Big duck in there by Grace Ann. They're looking to get the ball inside.
Under 10 on the shot clock. Hot with it. She'll throw it in deep. That one well off the mark. Talked about it before. Hot has not played nearly this much on a consistent basis. He doesn't have that simpatico with the post players trying to get that pass in there. Right, nice dish, and missing the shot, batted around. Satterfield kept it alive, and a whistle blows. That'll be on the Hoyas.
Talk about dropping a dime. Mari Wright coming to the middle. Help comes. She doesn't even have to look at her teammate.
Hustle by Satterfield will get herself to the line. Chance to make it a 2-possession game. Satterfield one more, and that one goes. So a 3-point advantage for Seton Hall. Ransom almost has it taken away again. Finds a helper in Cowan. Bennett will take a 3. That's off the mark. Satterfield with the board. Next couple possessions, Martin Seton Hall is locked in on that defensive end.
Really nice execution 3 possessions ago for Georgetown. They have gone away from that inside out look that was beneficial for them.
Gray kicks it out right for 3. That's off the mark. And Scott with the board, and she's fouled.
Big time rebound. Big time rebound for Scott.
Now on Baines, that'll be her 3rd. And again, what a game for Scott. 15 points and 8 rebounds. She's come to play. Just getting better and better seemingly with every game. Ransom stolen away by Satterfield. Out in front. Scott looking for the block and does not go, but a chance at 2 at the line for Gray.
Seton Hall's got a tight huddle here. They're talking what's next. Meanwhile, Georgetown looks a little isolated, discouraged that things haven't gone their way, not for lack of effort, but for execution.
Gray gets all the rim, but gets it to go. Ransom, talked about it before. For all her great play, she can tend to be turnover prone. Seton Hall's forced 7 turnovers from Ransom today. Gray hits 2, and now a 5-point lead with just over 90 seconds to go for the Hoyas. And a timeout for Darnell Haney. It'll be a 30. Extends out to a full, and just a complete turnaround in this one, Maurin. Again, the Hoyas had the 21 points, 21-2 lead. Actually, it was 23-2, excuse me. Start of the second quarter, early in the second quarter, I should say. Since then, the Hoyas have not scored more than 10 points in a quarter.
It's been a struggle to find the bottom of the net, but also the intensity to offensive rebound has not been there for Georgetown. Credit Seton Hall for continuing to chip away, and the same ball movement we have not seen that same ball movement for Georgetown or the execution. I go back to the isolation wing entry to Gracie and Bennett on the block, recognizing the double team. Brianna Scott gets a wide open 15-foot jump shot. Do that every single time. Force Seton Hall to defend. 1-on-1 on the block. Rotation.
You said it, and I think it was a key point for you that the experience of Seton Hall, how that helps them in games like this. You've seen them just kind of chip away, and even getting down as much as they did, never got rattled. Rivera to inbound. And no one coming to the ball. Finally, Scott comes.
And now we're seeing Seton Hall come out in a little bit of a zone for the first time. This is with a chess match. Comes.
Rivera gets an open look, and it's off the mark. And kept alive, back out, gets another chance. Can she hit this one? Can't do it. And Bennett tried to save it, threw it right off a Ransom.
Fantastic effort there by both Ransom and Bennett. However, no communication. One needed to go for it. The other needed to be the receiver of that save.
So now 5-point lead for Seton Hall with 1:03 to play. So now the Hoyas play this one out.
Looks like Georgetown also is going to go for the steal. And they get it. That trap, that length, that athleticism and activity forces a travel by Seton Hall.
Huge play for the Hoyas. Quick bucket here. They would not have to foul.
Yes. Kelsey Ransom with their defense there, taking away the sideline pass.
Bennett. Cowan will take a three. That's off the mark. Baines with a rebound. And that'll be a jump ball, but possession arrow to Seton Hall.
Now I don't think Georgetown has the luxury of waiting. They're going for a quick steal and then a foul.
Hoyas have won 7 in a row as a timeout called by Seton Hall with 38.7 seconds to go. Pirates trying to close out a comeback victory here in DC. Back in DC, Seton Hall up by 5. They've advanced on the timeout. Obviously, Hoyas, as Lauren said, need a quick steal or a foul. Get it into Satterfield, and Bennett can't give it up because she has 5. She has 4, excuse me. Now no one fouling. I don't know what Georgetown's doing here. Just letting Seton Hall run valuable time off the clock. Now down to 8. Now finally they foul. Clean strategy there.
I understand Grace Ann Bennett did not want to foul out. However, giving the time and score in the situation, time is needed for Georgetown. They ended up fouling, but wasted
20 seconds.
20 seconds.
And they foul Satterfield, who's a 75% free throw shooter, so even that doesn't make a lot of sense. So right now, Seton Hall, Satterfield taking advantage of a bit of a gift, and she's made it, missed that one, so still a 2-possession game as Georgetown takes a timeout to advance it. But only 15.8 seconds left to go.
So they do have 15.8 left, and they'll advance the basketball. Certainly They're going to draw up a specific play that no doubt they have practiced. There's nothing that can be done about the 20 seconds that was wasted, in our opinion. But this is where execution comes into play. The most important part here is inbounding the basketball.
Next up for the Hoyas, they'll go finish out non-conference play with a matchup at Kennesaw State, then on the road at DePaul, and then of course taking on UConn for matchups against Villanova and Providence. The Hoyas have a chance to get back in the win column if they can't come through here, as Bembry will inbound. Finds Scott, takes the three, that's around and out, no good. Batted around, almost tapped in. And now foul will be given on White with 10.1 to go.
Seton Hall came out in the same zone. That was a great shot by Brianna Scott. Great shot. Halfway down, that's a great shot.
Seton Hall's upcoming games, as they'll take on Providence next. So a nice lengthy holiday break for the Pirates before matchups with Villanova, Butler, Marquette, and Xavier. So Tony Bozzella hoping his team that want the rugged non-conference schedule has them ready for conference play. Did today, as now a 3-possession game and pretty much a fait accompli for the Pirates. What a gritty win for Seton Hall. And it's 2. Boys are rolled in. Rivera takes the 3. That's off the mark. Scott can't hit. And what a comeback win for Seton Hall. Trailed 21-2 at the end of the first quarter. Comes away with a 57-49 win. Maren, your final thoughts?
Coach Bozzella spoke so confidently about the maturity of his squad, that he has no academic issues, no issues. They're in the gym. He's just got mature kids, and I think that that's what we saw tonight. Down 21-2 at the end of the quarter. They didn't flinch. They didn't get nervous. They just kept chipping away.
A great win for Seton Hall to come back and get the victory as they improve on the campaign to 9-3. Hoyas see their 7-game winning streak fall by the wayside as they fall to 9-2 on the campaign. Thanks so much for joining us for this one. For my partner, Maren Walseth, I'm Jeremy Huber saying so long from McDonough Arena. Your final score, 57-49. Thanks for watching Big East Women's Basketball on the Big East Digital Network. Yep. Shooting. Man, they didn't shoot any better there. Maren's second half, Georgetown turned it over 11 times and shot it 29%, while Seton Hall was 39% shooting and they only turned it over 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah. That's a recipe to blow a 21-point lead. .346 scoring drought to end the game.
What is going on with this hair? You have that problem, Jeremy?
No. Not in about 20 years. Thanks for rubbing it in. I used to have some great hair. I had Toby Bailey hair. Remember Toby Bailey from UCLA, the guard?
Oh, yeah.
So I had that.
I remember him.
had the curly black hair on top, and yep, all gone.